Welcome back to another juicy episode on Spiritually Kinky. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dustin Wheeler, and I am your guide on this delicious, super conscious hero's journey. If you're here, my friends, welcome, welcome. And today we are going to talk about such a great topic because this has been something that has always deemed as dark in my life from how I grew up and what I was taught. And today we're going to go deep into fantasy versus imagination and in the playground of creation. Because what if your greatest creation begins in the invisible? Here's a little spoiler alert. They do. So let's explore the power of fantasy and imagination and how they're keys to co-creating a life that you love. So for those of you that don't know my background, I've gone by a lot of labels. Like I'm a certified magnetic mind coach, Reiki master, fucking woman, marketing consultant. But the one that I know myself wholly in most recently is creator. And that's what Spiritually Kinky is all about. And our intention here is to remind you who the fuck you really are so that you can consciously choose to create a life that you love instead of a life that looks like your past, if you want to. And it takes clarity, it takes courage, it takes commitment, and it takes a willingness to let go of your past and start creating from your future self. This is about remembering your future. Isn't that wild? And you see, what you'll hear me say over and over again, because I believe that this is the world's biggest reminder that we need right now, is that you aren't broken. You're just disconnected. You're not broken. You're just structured. You're not broken. You're just programmed. So I'm going to stop the tease and let's get this show started off right. And I want you to put your hand over your heart, my friend. Even if you're driving, hold on to the wheel. I believe you can do it. And I want you to just put your hand over your heart for a minute and just take a deep breath. And let's just all acknowledge together that we are the creative force within. We are the creative force within. That is who we really are. We aren't our labels or our leashes or our reasons or our diagnoses or our stories or our excuses. We're none of those things. We aren't our thoughts. We aren't our emotions. We aren't our bodies. We grew the body. And that every single one of us has the power to shape our world, to design the life we desire, and to co-create with the universe in ways that are wild and freeing and in complete alignment with who you really are. But let's talk about something that has been misunderstood, minimized, and at times shut down. Fantasy versus imagination. And let me just say, with the book talk and audio world that's coming in hot, I think this is going to be such a beautiful integration that's coming with fantasy and imagination. So many of us have been taught that fantasy is something that we need to grow out of, to run away from, or to hide from others because somehow we've called it bad to fantasize too much. Get your head out of the clouds. Don't think about that. Even fantasy turning into obsession. Even things where we talk about, oh, that's just for kids, or maybe even being unrealistic. Yeah. Like somehow the fantasy world should be hidden away or practiced behind closed doors. Like it's something that we shouldn't actually talk about as being how we actually scientifically and mentally and emotionally create what we want. Like it's time we talk about it. Now, I know that a lot of my listeners have a very rich fantasy life in your head, but I'm going to invite you to go even deeper today with me so that you can begin to bridge that connection and create a rich fantasy life from your heart. Because if we're disconnected from who we really are and we just continue to create from our wounds in the problem structure with a problem focus, there isn't any juice in that, babe. There isn't any juice. The juice is when we choose from love. The juice is when we choose from innocence just because we love it. That's where the juice is. That's where the opportunity is. So, what if all the things that we've been taught, what if we just got it wrong? All the things on how we were taught to create, how we were told that we must put away our toys and trade them for adult things so that one day we can have a good marriage, a good job, a good family, a good house, a good dog, a good car, and then you could be happy. But what if everything that they told us just wasn't supposed to work for us? And if you're listening to this episode, I know you can feel what I'm talking about. You never did fit in, and you never could understand why people couldn't see and sense what you could. And when enough people questioned your sanity and gave you all the reasons why it's not possible, we just simply got it wrong because at some point, some way, you made a decision to hide your light. And you've just fallen for the pretend, the fantasy, the part of being not it. But you're still it. You're still it, even if you believe you're not it. So, what if fantasy and imagination aren't separate, but intertwined forces that drive our deepest creations? And without them, we're just stuck in a loop of survival and performativity. What if the very thing you need right now in your life is the very thing that everyone told you was wrong? I don't know. Are you ready and willing to find out? I know what my answer is. So, in a world where we've been told to be an adult and focus on careers, houses, families, the daily grind, hmm, bills, paying bills, what's missing? The magic, the play, the juicy energy that comes from the depths of our imagination. So, as we dive into fantasy and imagination as our playground, first things first, let's break down what these two things are really about. Fantasy isn't just an escape, it's the raw material for our deepest, our creative endeavors. It's the dream space, the playground where we get to experience what's possible, even if it feels a little out there. And imagination, ooh, baby, that's the engine. It takes that raw fantasy and builds it, anchors it, and makes it real in the invisible first. This is why intention matters. The imagination is where we start to see the world as it could be. It's the architect of the future. Fantasy invites us to play, but imagination is the one that says, okay, I can do that. Now let's make it real. So everything that we create starts in the invisible, in the fantasy and imagination. If you aren't using them to design your life, you're stuck in the problem structure. And let me tell you, there's just no juice in that. And it only gets you oscillating results. And it's not you, it's your structure. Your worth has never been up for debate. So let's break down the problem structure versus the creative structure. We're going to talk about the problem structure. And this is where most people stay, trying to fix themselves, running in circles, playing small, staying in the adulting mode where they shut off their imagination because it feels childish. Now, there's more to the problem structure and understanding that we come from the intention to try and solve the unsolvable wound of not being it, which is not true. So we stay in an oscillating pattern because we have a self-conscious that desires a good life and an unconscious that desires a safe life, which our unconscious is what actually allows us to deny or to have what we want. And that's why we keep creating our past into our future is because your unconscious is choosing. Your unconscious is choosing. So the problem structure from the not in identity is focused, trying to fix, trying to solve, trying to heal. And it doesn't have the energy to move forward. It just oscillates. It's a survival loop. But the creative structure, oh, baby, that's where the magic happens. And think of structure like a fence post, a rocking chair, and a wheel. Same ingredients, just put together in different ways. So the creative structure is where you can align your true energetic force to move in the path of least resistance towards creating a life you love. And when you're in the creative structure, creating from a true choice, creating from your true choice, you're going to get flowing results. The resistance comes up, but the creative structure is where you get to give yourself permission to dream big, to fantasize, and to imagine without limit. It's where we begin to design the garden of our future, where we plant the seeds and tend to them with intention and love. And here's the kicker. The creative structure doesn't require perfection. You're already it, babe. You're already magnetic. You're already doing it. You're already doing it. You're already manifesting in such a powerful, super conscious way. You're just doing it unconsciously. So this is why it's so important to understand structure, because your worth has never been up for debate. The creative structure doesn't require perfection. It requires a decision, a choice, and a willingness to create from innocence, from love, not from have to, but from choose to. And then the taking of the next obvious action, because there are certain creative principles that you need to understand. If you want to bear beautiful fruit in your life, you have to learn how to be a good gardener. You just suck at being a super conscious hero's journey gardener. That was a mouthful. You suck at being a gardener, and that's okay, because they're just principles you need to understand. It's just conscious creation. It's creative development. It's not personal development. We're not here to fix you, save you, heal you. I'm here to unleash you, because this is the key to your cage. And you may be so in life that you don't want to come out of your cage, and that's okay too. Still doesn't change your worth. Still doesn't change who you really are. And you can choose to create that. But if you choose to step out of your cage, I promise you that you are well supported. I promise you that this is the way to creating a life you love in the now and creating a life you love in the now then. It's not a matter of this or that, which is what most of us have gotten instructions on, that we can't have what we want until we be something, do something, have something, and then we'll have what we want. Then we'll allow ourselves to have it. But that's just not the truth. We have to allow it in the experience now. And this is not how we've been programmed with our survival emotions. This is not what we've been taught with the problem structure. So it goes against our set point. So that's okay. The amazing news is that we can be beautifully redesigned in the way of our true alignment, and fueled by the power of who we really are. And who we really are is the creative force within, babe. That's it. That's it. And we get to choose, right? Is it a process? Absolutely. Do you have to learn how to be a good gardener? Yes, absolutely. Is it an embodiment practice? Absolutely. Right. But it requires a decision, a choice, and a willingness to create from innocence, which means, a place of no past, and from love. And not the concept of love that you know from your past, but the concept of love that you love it so much that you've never had it before, that you bring it into the now. So again, this is not from have to, it's from choose to, and then taking the next obvious action. So the creative structure is where love and imagination meet. It's where everything you desire can bloom. And it doesn't start in the mind. Babe, it starts in the heart. It starts in the heart. And getting this in sync is one of the most powerful practices that you can start with, especially when you ignite it with your true choices. This is so powerful. So let's talk about what the shift is happening in the world right now, because shift is happening. Shift is happening all over the place. So there's a collective shift, and this is why imagination is crucial, because let's zoom out for a second, and we're in the middle of something also bigger than ourselves, a collective shift. And I'm going to get into the astrology part of it, even though this is so superficial and I'm not pretending to have any kind of concrete knowledge on this other than I think it's interesting. So we're supposedly in a Lionsgate something, and there's a 5-month period where 5 powerful constellations come into alignment. And yes, I don't have all the details about the stars, how the stars align, but trust me, I feel it, it's palpable. So the energy is shifting and we're feeling it. And for me, Chiron, from what I heard, Chiron is the last one to come into alignment, and Chiron is known as the wounded healer. And it's this alignment that I don't think that has ever happened before. And there's this like cosmic dance that's going on internally, externally, like it's happening. And for me, it's all tied up in the energy of, first off, I'm a Libra, a lot of planets in Libra, Venus, Libra, lots of things in Libra, which is all about balance, the scales. And I'm a life path master number 11, which has been tied to a lot in being the wounded healer. So maybe this something ignited a different kind of embodiment in me as these constellations start to align. I don't know. That's a little bit above my pay grade, but I think that it's interesting because for all the times that I've tried to force balance, tried to force balance. How's that work out? I found myself oscillating between extremes, right? One extreme and then the other. One extreme and then the other, just like the seesaw of the scales. So let me just tell you, this shift isn't about getting it perfect. It's about the embodiment of our true selves, our creative selves, and stepping into the power of masculine and feminine energy as a cohesive force. This is what's happening. And together, what we understand is that in creation, it takes whole masculine and whole feminine energy to create, to transform. There are masculine and feminine energies that we need to practice in order to be a good gardener. There is masculine and feminine energy in order to birth a child. You literally rode in on the wave of an orgasm. And when these forces came together, you were created. So together they create abundance. They build bodies, they build words, because what you'll understand about the universe is everything is mirrored, right? From the small to the big. It's fascinating. And I'm not going to get into that or pretend that I know any kind of depth on that, but it is how the universe works. So we are super conscious farmers of our future. And we can remember our future and we can create it, or we can remember our past and we can recreate that too. And that's what we've been doing in society. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to move from problem solving into conscious creation. I am ready to move from problem solving into creative development, because when we honor ourselves for who we really are, the true power, the true light, because 70% of our DNA is actually bioluminescence and we are actually light source beings. Shocking. Again, knowing this my whole life. My whole life is validated in science. I love it. I love it. I love it. But we have to understand too that what we create, whether we create drought or abundance, whether we create health or we create sickness, it's first off, it doesn't change who we are. Our creations don't change us. We're the same on the inside. And when we honor that, we honor each other. And there are amazing, beautiful ways, because we are life force energy, and it all depends on how we channel these energies and align with this creative structure, which, did I mention that the creative structure actually yields flowing results like the wheel? Instead of being in a rocking chair or a pendulum swinging back and forth between your mental and emotional and psychological torment. I don't know about you, but I was over it. I was over it. I knew that there was something more. And if you're listening, this is your something more. So we are the creators of our reality, and the shift is happening. It's happening within you, it's happening in me, and it's happening in the collective. And we have to choose. Do we stay in survival mode, or do we step into the fertile ground of creation? You get to choose. I know what I'm choosing. So, what does all this mean for you, my fellow creator? Well, it's time to get in the creative structure and use your fantasy and imagination to design a life as if it's already happening. It's time to remember your future. It's time to embrace the creative tension that comes with stepping into the unknown and choosing from your true heart. And if you've been feeling a little lost, if you've been feeling burnt out or like nothing has worked, trust me, you're not alone. I've been there. I was you. And I've been navigating the same shift you're going through right now. I was caught up in the struggle too. I still get caught up in the struggle. And that's okay. That's okay. It's part of it. You're in the shift. But once I started using my imagination as the fuel for creation, everything began to change because intention matters. So if you want to check out my journey, you can go check it out. Podcast episode 15, I think. I got the link down below. And this is where I dive in how I shifted into creative structure and started to really create from a place of love and imagination. And if you want more support navigating and stepping into your creative power, listen, I got you on a free guidebook. It's called Shift Happens, and it's going to tell you exactly where you are in the process, what's ahead, and how to begin aligning with a creative structure that's waiting for you. Love is the medicine that the world needs right now. So whether you're here to be spiritual or you're here to be kinky, or maybe like me, a whole lot of both, lead with love, my friends. And in case nobody told you today, I see you, I feel you, and I love you. And you are not alone.